Okay, hi everyone and welcome to What's New in CustomTools 2022 webinar. I am Simo Erkinheimo, Product Manager of CustomTools, and as my wingman I have our Sales Manager François Simon. Today I'm going to go through new additions in both CustomTools 2022 Service Pack 0 and 1. SP0 was released last December and SP1 just a week ago. I expect this webinar to take about 30 minutes and we have a Q&A session after the presentation. There might be up to 30-second delay, so please post your questions as soon as something comes to your mind. In case you are new to CustomTools, it is a SolidWorks add-in designed to optimize data management in SolidWorks. It automates routine-like tasks and allows designers to concentrate on their design work while at the same time intuitively producing consistent and error-free design data. Today we have over 10,000 users worldwide and growing. CustomTools is especially known for its advanced custom property management, sheet metal tools, batch processing, reporting capabilities, and ERP integrations. It is also fully integrated with SolidWorks PDM Professional, but it works seamlessly with or without it. When we talk about CustomTools file management, we refer to file naming and locating and folder automation, which is all still completely valid even when the file ownership is managed by a system like SolidWorks PDM, or maybe even Dropbox. Many of our users simply have their files in Windows shared folder, maybe with some added scheduled backups. For today's agenda, we will first take a look at the SPR statistics of the past releases, and SPR is a request, wish, or an issue you may raise through our support channel. And then we will quickly go through all the new features one by one, and after that I will demonstrate some of these features live. At the end, we will also have a quick interactive poll followed by the Q&A session where I and François will go through all your questions. The poll results are checked after the Q&A due to the small delay we might have here. Well, let's get started. CustomTools 2022 has almost 100 SPRs resolved altogether, counting also the 2021 SP3 as everything fixed in that is also fixed in the latest SP1. Our focus with this is always on the critical or high impact matters, but the past year we have also started fixing things that might seem a bit small, but it in fact may have some real impact on the overall usability. Especially we have aimed to smoothen the path of the first time user. Those 11 feature projects mentioned are bigger changes that we implement in more project-type manner, and they might also automatically resolve some collection of SPRs, or sometimes they resolve none. All in all, there are approximately 3,800 development and testing work hours committed for these releases, which is quite a nice amount, I think. And then for the features. So having the first-time user in mind, we started with the installer. Prior to CT 2022, you could choose between trial and custom installation, and a new installation was always initialized using this pre-made demo profile that we called machinery design profile. But now we offer standalone and network installation options. It's a small change, but it clarifies right from the beginning that this product has in fact both the standalone and network capabilities. In addition, we changed the default initial profile from the pre-made demo one to an empty one that is built user interactively. We will take a look at that later. In SP1, we also upgraded the included SQL Server to 2019 version just for longer support from Microsoft. After the user has finished with the installer and launches SolidWorks, we now greet the user with this brief explanation of what CustomTools really is capable of. Our newly introduced first launch tutorial guides the user also to launch different profile wizards and to have that profile built for whatever the user was looking for when he or she decided to start evaluating CustomTools. And the primary profile wizard that the new user should launch is the model property wizard. Now that we implemented especially the file name automation for it in SP0, we were confident that the profile built user interactively like this will work overall much better than the demo profile would, because the custom properties of the demo profile don't obviously correlate at all with any existing design data. So everything from the installer changes up to this point pretty much goes hand in hand for smoothing the path for the first time user. But also this provides a very fast way for resellers to demonstrate or set up CustomTools capabilities using the customer's own design data. In the wizard, we also set up the search pane and selection of properties for the patch operations, for the advanced file filtering, and both of these we do semi-automatically. SP1 brought also the file name automation for the tab builder and PDM professional users, and this enables very easy integration of PDM serials as part of CustomTools file naming automation. from which we get the new features that are also beneficial for existing user base and not only for demo downloaders and resellers. So as we implemented the PDM serials for the file name automation, we noticed that it should be possible to bind these extension sequences like the PDM serial is to specific properties. So before this change, all of the PDM serials and NAV number series, vertex flow series, and other integration provided sequences, they were injected to all of the sequence properties. But now in the SP1, it is possible to filter and select them at Custom Property Wizard exactly the same as normal CustomTools sequences are. In SP0, we also added some much needed profile management improvements, especially being able to copy export profiles is something that has been requested quite a lot. It is now, for example, very fast to make different variants of the Excel reports. Also, cleaning up the profile is a little bit less tedious now than it was before. And I think everyone loves performance improvements. We had actually noticed especially bad performance with loading up the pop-up properties, that is, depending on the profile settings, shown when a design is saved for the first time. In fact, we were so impressed by the improvements that we re-enabled pop-up properties to be shown as default for new CustomTools users. In addition, though, we added this small dismiss and never show again type of feature for it in case someone feels it really doesn't fit well for the workflow. So even though we targeted especially these pop-up properties, a big portion of the optimization work also affects the loading time of the main properties features. So this should be a very good improvement for all CustomTools users. We have also committed to improve overall performance even further in the upcoming releases, because for instance, network latency that might be introduced by VPN or long distances, it can really have a bad impact on database-centric applications like CustomTools is. And then as part of the usability improvements of properties and copy, we are now validating, for example, the rename and move operation, that we are actually able to do that operation properly before attempting it. So there might be a problem, for example, if the source file is read-only or located in PDM. This also includes that we are now able to detect both the PDM standard and the PDM professional vaults. So PDM standard doesn't have an open API, so we cannot interact with that the same way as with the PDM professional. But as said, we can now detect the PDM standard and restrict some of the functionalities we know doesn't work properly in that context. These additions are especially welcome in the copy, where we can now guide the user to do proper actions in case the operation validation fails. And Service Pack 1 extends functionality of our specific lookup list type by allowing to display something in the list while writing something else as the actual property value. For example, you might need to have the manufacturing method indicated by numbers 1 to 3 in your properties, maybe because of some third-party system requirement. However, the designer would probably rather select names of those methods than trying to remember these non-descriptive identifiers. And existing users probably know about the older feature that allows you to get a lookup list key written to another property, but this value and display value setup on the same property works much better in scenarios when the key value can be controlled by a third-party system. In fact, bidirectional ERP integrations are the original motivation behind this feature. And this feature is available when using hierarchical lookup lists with hierarchical combo property type. It is easy to migrate existing simple and key value lists in case you want to utilize this feature with them, and I will demonstrate that too. In case you are working with multi-body parts and create DXF and DWG files, you might find it useful that our DXF nodes now support body number and total body count. And together they can be used to better identify and collect bodies of a specific part from, for example, a merged DXF file like what we have here at the bottom. And export was also improved and is now able to resolve linked values much better than before. However, it is always good to understand that it is simply not technically possible to resolve linked values reliably in any other scenario than when the design is open in SOLIDWORKS and fully resolved. So for instance, if you are using CustomTools export in PDM to produce those fancy Excel reports, you might want to double check if you should in fact use the task host processing for data accuracy instead of the faster and interactive client-side processing, which doesn't open the model in SOLIDWORKS. So there is a trade-off with speed and accuracy here, and you need to kind of know whether you need that accuracy or not. Mainly, you would see the need for this if you have, for instance, a configured weldment part and you have that part referenced with many of its configurations in the same design. If the model is not open and fully resolved, the linked values like the length or mass are given for those catalyst items as their last evaluated values. And those are not necessarily correct values in the context of the reference configuration. As said, we now support getting of those correct values when the model is open and fully resolved in SolidWorks. In case, sorry, I have here some problem with my text, but finally some of our built-in ERP integrations got some improvements. The modern authentication we added for NAV and Business Central, as well as the endpoint caching that significantly improves the overall performance of this integration. For Odoo, we implemented the basic support for the product variants, and for Oscar ERP, we added support for the generic items. If these integrations or any SolidWorks integrations are interesting to you, don't hesitate to contact info@customtools.info. As many of you probably know, there isn't many ERP systems we hadn't touched already in the past 20 years or so. We have extremely high competence in this area. Okay, so enough talk, and let's take a look how many demo effects I can have within 15 minutes or so. At this point, I'd like to remind that please post any questions you might have as soon as possible. Let me just try to get my virtual machine up and running here. Okay, so since we have done a, okay, now it's running here, okay. Yeah, so since we have done a lot of first-time user improvements, I want to demonstrate how easy it can be to set up custom tools to an existing environment with existing design data. So my virtual machine here simulates an environment with SolidWorks PDM Professional, and as a design company, I make products of my own design, but I also make customer-specific variants of those products. So I pre-recorded the installer so that I can speed up it a little bit. So let's take a look at that. So obviously, just go on and double-click the installer, choose your language, and it's all the normal installer stuff. It shouldn't be that intimidating at all. Click Next, read the license terms and accept them, and just add your details. The serial number you get when you request the demo or when you purchase the product. I have obviously hidden it here. And here is the first time you actually need to make a choice and whether you do a standalone or the network installation. And if you are evaluating or trying up the product, and like here, even though I have SolidWorks PDM environment, so I have a network environment, I can still try it out with a standalone installation. And that's what I go with here. Just click install and everything is basically set up for you. So this is speeded up quite significantly here just to get it faster going. But as you can see, we now have SQL Server 2019 backend here. And when everything is done, well, here you could actually uncheck the show me what's new. We always include the what's new documentation or our releases, but it's probably more interesting if you are doing an upgrade of the product. But anyway, here's the documentation. You might want to take a look at that. The only thing you need to know after the installation is you don't need to launch something like the Custom Tools administration. Just go on and launch SolidWorks because we will set up everything user interactively from this point on. When you first launch SolidWorks, you will obviously first activate your license. So this is something that you only do once. And once you have activated your license, you will be logging into your local Custom Tools database for the first time. So it will create you a new user or create you a user like here. So you just validate that it's your name and that's basically it. You won't see those again. And then one of the additions that we did for SP0 is this first launch tutorial that is shown now because the profile is empty and it needs to be interactively built. So we will continue from this live. I will put down the video and start up SolidWorks and hope that everything goes well. And as said, I have already launched it once and I have activated my license and I have logged in once, so I'm not seeing any of those. But since I haven't touched my profile, I will get this first launch tutorial. So here we have like this brief introduction to custom tools. We have learned the menu, so you can learn all the features that we have there. Then we have the most important one, that is the build your profile. Then a little bit how you use that profile and then also tweak your profile. And it is highly recommended to take a look at the build your profile thing. And just one tip here that when these are running here, you can actually have it like on full screen mode inside this dialog and have it somewhere there maybe on another screen or so, and you can continue using SolidWorks. So it's not blocking your usage at all. But I will now exit that and just go on what it tells me to do. And that's basically just open up a design and visit the properties in order to start up the property wizard. So as I said, I have a SolidWorks PDM environment here. I will not check out anything. I will just open the model from PDM, and my design company makes these woofers, and this is one of my products here. And I will just go to the properties, and this will now launch the model property wizard for me. And it detects that I have a SolidWorks PDM environment here. I could also do the document analysis, so it goes through my custom properties and does the analysis based on that. But I will use the SolidWorks PDM now. And I will choose the vault that I want to analyze, so it's my demo 3 vault, and the file cards I want to analyze from that vault. And now we have something here that is totally new in SP1. So we have the file naming that allows you to hook directly to PDM serials from my vault. So if you take a look at my file names, I have obviously used some sort of serial to name my files, and I have set that in SolidWorks in my SolidWorks PDM add-in settings that I'm using that serial. So I want to continue using that same serial when I'm letting CustomTools to do the file naming for me. I'll just tap it here, and that's all I have to do, and it's now integrated with that. Then I can just do a little bit of cleaning up of my properties, or maybe rearranging them a bit. So I'd like to get the number on the top and maybe the description on the top, project number, project name, and so on. So we detect those properties and property types from the PDM card. And also, if you do the file analysis, we do some smart detecting of what the property type could actually be. Here we have a new option or a new feature that you can here already select that which are used as a filter in print and convert. And if you would do the non-PDM analysis, then you would also be able to select here which are used in the search. But the search is not in use when you have files in the PDM. So we pre-select the most used ones here automatically, so you have them all available when going to the print and convert, for instance. So let's just finish this up, and now we already have a CustomTools profile that it doesn't have any fancy bells and whistles like the demo profile has, but it does work with my existing data that I have here and what I have, for instance, in my data cards in PDM. So they are fully working together, and I could now maybe tweak my profile to work in more advanced way, like what you can do with CustomTools. And let's say that I now want to make that customer specific variant out of this product, so I could use copy for that. I only want to copy the files that are going to change for this customer variant. I like to use the nested view here, and I will unselect all because I only want to select the ones that I modify. So I will select, for instance, this one because this customer wants to have its name carved there on the side. I will select that component and its drawing to be copied, and I also, as my method of denoting what are customer specific files, I will add project number C for them. And project name would be something like ATR woofer. So I'm doing this woofer for ATR soft. So now if I just click OK, and since I didn't define the save folder, I need to define the save folder where I want to copy this. Let's make an ATR woofer there. And now we will see one of the improvements that we added to the copy. Since I did a save as operation for a component, that obviously changes the references of the main assembly or the assembly that is referring to that component. And since that assembly is checked in PDM, it doesn't make any sense to do this kind of operation with this current state that it is in. So as we think of it, if we think of it a little bit more here, we realize that obviously when we are doing a customer specific change, we also need to include the main assembly for that. And that's just, how you should work with SolidWorks documents, and just select those in and continue with the operation. As you can see, we are getting a new serial here, and that serial is actually coming from the SW documents from the demo 3 vault from my PDM. So I'm using here the PDM serial in CustomTools in these features that we have, like the copy. And as you can see, it's now 412 here, and we have this component is this 411. And I could now do that customer specific change, which I have obviously done before already here, so that we can speed things up a little bit. And now we notice that this actually wasn't the same component, and I want to use I want to actually do this one as well. So just to show what you can do with CustomTools, you go to the properties of that one. And now we can see that we don't have anything here on the file naming. And that's because if I would now just apply the properties, you can see that I'm using no project, and that ignores the file naming rules. In CustomTools, you need to have the file belonging to a project because the project defines the file naming rule. And you, by the way, can have different file naming rules for different projects. But here, let's just choose that I actually want to use a project, and I only have the general one here. And then the file name will be automatically populated by a serial pulled from the PDM from that serial. And now I could put that this is also project number C and ATR woofer. And now CustomTools tells that I probably want to save this as because I changed the property that defines my file name. So I will put it to the folder of my ATR woofer variant that I'm doing here. And one of the CustomTools features again kicks in. We copy the reference drawing. So if you do copying of parts, you probably want to also copy the drawing because obviously the drawing also differs from the original one. Okay, so let's do the same change for this one as well. I will just unsuppress this feature here. And now we have our variant product created in CustomTools. I will just save that and check it into my PDM. Like that. Okay, and now we are ready to make the manufacturing documentation for this. And let's say that we need, since we have this carving here on the side, we probably need to get something like the DXF files that show how we should do those. So let's go to print and convert. And since we don't have any rules yet, we will be created by this wizard here. We want to convert files, we want to convert parts, we want to convert them to the DXF files. And let's merge them by thickness and material. So this will make a merged DXF file that has everything that has the same thickness and the same material will be added to the same file. Then we can call this to something like customer parts to DXF. And now you can see that we already have all the custom properties also added here. That was done by the model property wizard. So we can now filter based on these properties. And yes, in fact, we want to add some advanced filtering for these rules because we don't want to convert all of the parts into DXF. We only want to convert those which file type is a sheet metal part and model property project number is C. If you remember, I denote customer specific parts with project number C in this environment. I will just save and attach that to my customer parts to DXF rule. And now we can see that only the ones that match with the rule, like this one, is a sheet metal part, and project number is C, that's selected, and there should be another one here as well, that one. And if I do the changes the same way for every customer variant, I can just reuse this same rule and have my manufacturing documentation created for me really fast with the click of a button. Let's give it a few seconds to finish up and then take a peek of what we have there in the PDM now. Okay, so here we have now in my PDM, I have this product ATR woofer, and I have there only the components that were changed for this variant, and then I have my DXF file of these changes that I need to do for my product and so on. Obviously, you could add much more there, like the merge PDF file and so on. All of the things that you can do with CustomTools. And this is, of course, just a scratch of a surface. And I hope that many of you already know that you can take things much further from here. But anyway, it's a really solid base profile without even ever going to the profile options. And that's something that we have aimed to do here for the first time user. Okay, so let's take a look at the other things that we added. So at the options, if we take a look at the sequences, we don't have any sequences here. But if you go to our file name property and take a look, then we are seeing the SW documents here. So this is one thing that we added. So you can now actually remove them from a property or add them to a property if you have any integration that provides serials to your CustomTools system. And another one would be those lookup list. enhancements. So we have, I think we all have like the author one here. It's not a perfect demo, but I think you probably get the point. So I have here a normal simple author lookup list. And let's say that I want to, instead of selecting admin, I want to select my name and write admin when I select my name. So let's do that for this existing list. I will go to the lookup lists, and for the author list, I will actually have to go back like that and change it to hierarchical list. And then I can add a key here. So we can actually rename this as well. I can put this like full name just to better know what there is in this one. And I will call this one Simo Erkinheimo, like that. Okay, finish that up. And let's go to the model properties and change this author to use hierarchical combo. Now, if we go to the page here, we can see that we can now choose which one is my value column, so which one is actually written to the property, and which one is my display value, so which one is seen or selected for the property. So I will put that full name, that I select my full name, and it will write then admin as the property value, and it's as simple as that. Let's actually take a look if I create a completely new file. Let's use that one. It's pre-modeled, so it's a little bit faster. I will just save that. And notice how fast the pop-up properties now came up. So we did a lot of performance improvements in this one. So it's almost instantaneous now. And we also got a new file name from the PDM serial here. And we can do things like, change the material as well here. And if we take a look at the author, we should now see that there is, as a selection, there is Simo Erkinheimo, and when I select that, it actually writes admin to the property value. I can just click on OK here, and I will have my file name, and I can locate it wherever I want. And the hardcore users also know that you can utilize the CustomTools projects to actually have also the folder automatically selected for you, so you never even see the Save As dialog. Okay, so that's basically my demo, and let's next have the poll. So the poll would be that which are the topics you'd like to learn more about? Let me try if I can launch that here somehow. And you can select multiple ones of these. And since there are a little bit of delay here, I think we should probably, Francois, if you can hear me, maybe we should take a look at the questions if we have any.
Yes, we had one question asking if CustomTools 2022 is compatible with the SolidWorks 2021, and the answer is yes, because CustomTools always work with the, for example, CustomTools 2022 works with SolidWorks 2022 and also the 3 previous releases, so 2021, 2020, and 2019.
Yes. So always 4 versions, and the year version is the same as SolidWorks. So basically, CT 2022 is SolidWorks 2022, and 4 latest versions of SolidWorks. And also actually the latest service pack that we have. So our latest service pack is Service Pack 3 always, and that has the same thing as the SolidWorks latest service pack. So you can actually open the next version files in this VF only mode. So we have the same in our latest service pack as well.
Okay, then we had another question also, Simo, that I don't know if you want to, we can check it now or after the poll.
Okay.
So the question was that, that when you have like a custom tool and you have many properties, that sometimes there is a delay in opening the property property pane. So someone was asking if this has been improved.
Yes. So as said, we did do quite a lot of improvements for the pop-up properties. That, as I showed in the demo, it's really fast now. But many of those improvements that we did for it actually went inside the properties engine that we have. So it affects also the loading time of the integrated properties pane that we have. So it is now faster in SP1. But at least now that people are working quite a lot from home and they have VPNs and stuff like that, now CustomTools is a database-centric application, and a latency of the connection might actually introduce some bad performance on every database-centric application that you might have, and CustomTools is no different with that. We are actually doing some improvements related to that in the CustomTools 2023 version that is going to be released this fall. Okay. Are there more questions or?
No more questions.
Okay,
So
let's
far.
take a look at the poll results. So I will close the poll and share the results. Let's see. I think they are now shared.
Yes, we can see them. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I can see them really badly. I don't know how to see them better, but maybe you can, Francois, if there's something.
Yes,
something to
I
discuss
can
about
just
the
go through
results.
the results. So the let's say the winner is the SolidWorks PDM and CustomTools like co-usage. So this received 67% of the votes. Then we have in also like the Excel reporting and integration. So the last one also has 67% of the votes. Then we had batch operation, converting, printing, and also the properties and copy had 50% of the vote. And finally, the first time user experience received 25% of the votes. But I would say this is also quite similar to the feedback that we have received from some of our customers. So the export integration and also the SolidWorks PDM integration is something that many customers are now using. So yeah, I would say this result reflect
I many times hear this, let's say, CustomTools versus SolidWorks PDM, and that is not how we like to see it, because we like to think that these systems complement each other and they are not mutually exclusive at any way. Of course, you can use and you can do property management with PDM. On the other hand, you can do a little bit of file management with the search with CustomTools, but PDM is owning the files, CustomTools is managing the properties a little bit more advanced than in PDM you can do, and so on. But there are also other tools, obviously, as well available with CustomTools in that environment. And we actually have brought a lot of these tools that we have in CustomTools also for the PDM. So you can actually run like the export and the print and convert directly from PDM and have a task host machine actually processing, let's say, like your batch operations. So that's all available in CustomTools already today.
Yes, yeah. Because now the integration is only for SolidWorks PDM Professional, but also like if you're using PDM Standard and CustomTools, it will also bring quite a lot of value also for the user using PDM Standard 2, which we are not able to integrate because there is no API. But yeah, if you have PDM Standard and CustomTools, then it's also a really great combination.
So the thing is with SolidWorks PDM is that you can rename and you can move files within PDM, and if you do that within PDM, then CustomTools cannot know anything about that, because CustomTools only indexes what it knows when you save the file using CustomTools in SolidWorks. So that's why we integrated CustomTools with SolidWorks PDM Professional, so that we can now rely on the references directly from PDM Professional. So we are always correct as well. So CustomTools doesn't have to index or keep its own index that might not be up to date if you use PDM Professional. But at the same time, if you use PDM Standard, you can do this, or actually then CustomTools will index all of the files on its own database, because it cannot get that information from the PDM Standard. So it works with PDM Standard, but if you are using them together, then you probably don't want to rename and move files within the PDM, because then you will lose the consistency of the CustomTools database in that case. So that's just good to know information for that. And also you need to manually handle that you have all the files locally available. Just when you work, always get latest of everything. And if you do that, then you should be good. Okay, I guess if there are no more questions, we are out of time. And okay, so thank you for joining. For further questions, you can reach me through info@customtools.info, and for quotes or other collaboration inquiries, sales@customtools.info will take you directly for the best people we have. On behalf of the whole CustomTools team, thank you for joining, and have a nice day.
Thank you, Simo. Thank you, everyone. Yes, bye.
Bye-bye.